What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Amante the Black Titan, and for today's console review, we have the Sega Dreamcast. So, one thing I will say about the Sega Dreamcast is it's a system that was ahead of its time, and I wish it would have got more Sonic games on there. But either way, it's a great console, and there's so many things that you can do with it. So, let's get started. Also, for this review, I will be doing this on a different camera instead of my iPhone right here. So this is a test run to see how the camera looks and feels. So tell me guys how you think after the video is finished.
The story begins with the add-ons of the Sega Genesis and the Sega Saturn. Sega was trying to keep the Sega Genesis alive, and then they released the Sega Saturn before the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 was released. This wouldn't go so well with the Saturn being rushed to be released ahead of the others. The Saturn is a commercial failure. However, the system did very well in Japan, but not in America. People were waiting for the next big Sonic game for the Sega Saturn, but we ended up with Sonic R, Sonic 3D Blast, and Sonic Jam, and Sonic X-treme was canceled. Then, the Sega Saturn will be discontinued, which angered a lot of third-party developers. Development began as Hideki Sato joined in and went with a Hitachi SH4 processor with a PowerVR graphics processor. Code names included White Belt, Guppy, and then Katana. As time went by, and then there was a lawsuit due to breach of contract. The Sega Dreamcast was released on November 27th, 1998 in Japan, and September 9th, 1999 in America. The system sold a total of 9.13 million units worldwide. The Dreamcast was the first console to include a built-in modem and internet support for online gaming. The Sega Dreamcast was ahead of its time, and even with its short lifespan, it is a great console with a great library of games, such as Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Jet Set Radio, Shenmue, Phantasy Star Online, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Soul Calibur, and Crazy Taxi.
Here's a closer look at the Sega Dreamcast. As you can see Sega. This is where you put your controllers in. And right here, compatible with Microsoft Windows CE. And then you have your power button right here. And then the button to open the system. Just like that. And close it. And then when you turn the system around, that's your power. And then your AV. Here are the cords for the Sega Dreamcast. As you can see, you have your classic yellow, white, and red cords. And then you also have the one right here to give it power. Also, if you guys remember my Sega Genesis review, as you can see right here, this is the old adapter for the Sega Dreamcast. And just like with that one, this one right here, you just put this on the back of the television where it has a antenna port. That's where you put that in. And then you also have the channel select. That's the switch of it. And yep, pretty much that's the old method of it, aside from, you know, the yellow and the yellow one and the white one and the red cords like I showed earlier. Here's the Sega Dreamcast controller. You have your buttons, your start, and then your directional pad right up here, and then your control stick. And then when you turn it around, there's the triggers right here. And then over here, you have the memory card. So you just pop that open, and then you put it in just like this, and boom, there's your memory card. And you can also play games on there too as well. When I first saw the Sega Dreamcast, it was one day that my dad was playing the console and my sister would play the console as well. And eventually it was my turn to play, the Sega Dreamcast. And this one right here is called Generator Volume 2. It is basically a collection of games. They're actually the demos of games that's about to come out during that time. This was before I was born. So this was my first introduction to the different games that you could play on the Sega Dreamcast. And on this one right here, Generator Volume 2, it had Sonic Adventure, Tomb Raider, and Rayman. And the Sonic Adventure one, that will be the one to change my life forever. That was the first time that I saw Sonic the Hedgehog. As I'm looking through the different games that my dad has for the Dreamcast, I would see the actual full game of Sonic Adventure. And this is the one right here. As you can see, the whole time we actually had the whole game just out of my own curiosity. And this is the game that will forever change my life because I love Sonic, and Sonic has impacted my life in a way that I never even saw coming like that. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. At 4 years old, I almost beat it, but I just couldn't get past like some of the characters' stories. I was able to get past through Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and again, like this, I just really love this game. It's one of my favorites. Basically, Sonic Adventure and then the Generator Volume 2 games. These was like the only two games I was playing. But if I'm being for real, I was just playing Sonic Adventure like non-stop because I just really love this game. And it forever changed my life. And just seeing Sonic run like that. Now, everybody knows about the Naruto run, but technically Sonic was like the first one to throw his hands back and do the run like that. Now, the first time he actually did that run was actually in Sonic CD. And this was like years before Naruto even came into the public. So that's just an interesting fact. And yeah, I just really like Sonic Adventure. That is just one of my favorite games. So that is it of the review. So like, share, and subscribe, and have a good day. See ya!